Tonight, we continue our coverage of the christening of the USS Oregon in Groton, Connecticut. I traveled with photojournalist Steve Kaufman for the ceremony, and from seeing the Oregon in person, meeting members of her crew, and hearing speeches from elected officials, it truly was an incredible experience. The christening of the USS Oregon kicks off with her crew walking the red carpet. More than 130 sailors march in, and it's lights, camera, action. A crowd of roughly 6,000 people applaud the newest sub and her sailors.
This, the 20th Virginia-class submarine.
Speakers give a nod to her valiant mission, the people who built her, and those who will serve on her.
It is these men and women who will light the lights of this sub and give the USS Oregon her soul. They will secure our freedom. They will protect our future.
The ceremony included a lot of pomp and circumstance, and Congressman Greg Walden provided some humor and some education.
Okay, before we get started, we're just going to clear up one matter. It's Oregon. O-R-Y-G-U-N, Oregon. Everybody good with that? Perfect.
A brief lesson in pronunciation before a history lesson of Oregon's predecessor, a battleship, BB-3, built in the 1890s.
In fact, the New York Times declared the Oregon was, and I quote, the most famous vessel in the American Navy, and among the modern fleets of the world, there is no fighting vessel whose engines and batteries have accomplished more. She was called the Bulldog of the Navy, and she was said to have a bone in her teeth.
Her grit won the respect of many, and now the newest USS Oregon has a big task before her.
We have very competitive environment out there with the Russians, the Chinese, and others that are putting their all in to developing great sea war power. And we've got to keep up. We've got to stay ahead. And this Virginia-class submarine will do that.
A true honor for America and Oregonians, nearly a century in the making.
This is really big. This is really big. This is the world's finest submarine right here behind us, and it will be sailed by the finest sailors in the world. And so for us, we should be really proud as Oregonians to know we'll be on the vanguard of freedom with a sub named for our state.
Christened with sparkling wine from Oregon and water from Crater Lake, sponsor Mrs. Dana Richardson gave it a whack, not once, but twice, to get the job done.
So fair winds and following seas to the USS Oregon and her crew. May God bless her and her crew, and may God bless these United States of America.
I also have to give a shout out to Steve Kaufman for all of his hard work behind the scenes to get this set up. It truly was a once-in-a-lifetime experience being there for the ceremony. I loved learning all about submarines and, of course, meeting Oregon's crew. Now, speaking of her crew,